Let's just get right into it, because the last thing I want to do is waste your time. We're going to break down exactly what I think the problems are in Marvel Rivals. Starting with the very clear animosity between the roles. Think of every role as its own separate faction. The Vanguards, the DPS, and the Strategists. Members of each faction will protect their own from scrutiny, even blindly defending them at times. This is a problem. In this game, you are not allowed to tell a teammate that they are doing poorly, no matter how you word it, no matter the tone of your voice. It will be taken as aggression. I wholeheartedly believe in being honest with your teammates. If I'm doing poorly, I'd hope my teammates would have the mind to direct me to a different playstyle. However, these things do not happen. Instead, a word is uttered, and before you know it, your entire team has been chat banned from the amount of slurs thrown in under 30 seconds. Then after, the defeat screen provides you a well-deserved 25 points lost. The Rivals community suffers from a severe lack of comprehension, communication, and overall people skills. Let it be known, you and your teammates are in it together. Everyone on the team is allowed to voice themselves and provide input on what they think might help. It is your job as a member of your team to be open-minded. Let's talk about my role first, the DPS role, the most hated archetype in every hero shooter. DPS means, if you won't hear it from Vanguards, if you won't hear it from Strategists, hear it from me. Just because you have a lot of kills, or might be the ace, does not mean your team can't give you feedback or even criticize your gameplay. It matters who you kill. If you are killing players repeatedly, yet nothing is changing, that means your focus is misplaced. Target priority is important to be a great DPS. Unlike the other factions, we don't have the luxury of making excuses. We are expected to perform or swap. We may not like it, but that is how it is. If we pick DPS, then we need to DPS. Picks are extremely important, but so is damage. Without damage, your tanks can't walk. In your next game, read the flow of the battle, pick the most problematic player on the enemy team, minimize your deaths, and maximize your battlefield awareness. Be willing to swap. I know you wanted to play Black Panther. I know you wanted to play Storm. I know you wanted to play your favorite hero in the DPS category. However, if it's not working, you need to swap. Our role has the most characters in it, meaning we have the luxury of engaging in different styles of play to shift the flow of battle. Do not be a one-trick DPS. Learn other DPS, because more often than not, if you play a meta DPS, they will be banned. Or you will run into a comp that doesn't suit your character. You'll play into it and lose. Sometimes it's not because you're stubborn or hard-headed, it's because you haven't taken the time out to learn anyone else. Please, take the time out to learn other DPS to give your team a fighting chance. This applies to all roles, but DPS the most only due to the fact that we have more characters. Next up, strategists. I know some of you are gonna hate me for this, but if you're not open-minded, just click off now. DID syndrome. Now you are probably wondering what I mean by that, and I'll gladly tell you. Damsel in distress syndrome. Fight back for the love of God. All of you, and I mean all of you, are playing characters that have the ability to throw hands, especially if you are running triple support. I am not sure if you guys are aware of this, but your character does quite a bit of damage. If they don't have the damage, they have the movement. If they don't have the movement, they have the defense. If they don't have the defense, they have the damage. Yet most of them have all three. If you are being dove, if you are being pressed, press the shoot button. It might not always work, but it damn sure will prevent you from dying instantly. Realize that sometimes peeling for you every single time isn't possible. Learn how to survive, watch your own back, and become spatially aware. If you fall over and die the second you're attacked, peeling for you won't do much anyway. That extra 5 seconds of you fighting and evading the attacker could be just what your team needed to lock them down and KO the enemy. Be aware of your surroundings and use your abilities. Use your ult wisely. I know that you like to ult whenever you hear another ult, but sometimes that isn't what is needed. A small scenario for you. Say you get your ult first before the enemy team. You've been keeping track of the flow and pace. You know they don't have any ults to counter yours, so you pop it. The enemy team doesn't have any ults to kill through yours. You win the team fight. Now you get to farm ult charge during the next battle, and whenever they do ult, your second support has their ult ready if needed. As a strategist, you are so important and crucial. Fix these common mistakes and you'll do just fine. Knowing when and how to ult, knowing that is what separates a climber from a hot stuck gold. Also, dying after you ult. Please stop dying after you ult. I'm looking at you, Cloak and Dagger. If there is a penny, do not ult right into the mines.
Yeah.
Heal botting simply is not going to cut it anymore. No one cares if you have a lot of heals. This is going to sound very, very downplayish, but healing is not that hard to do. In fact, it is the easiest thing to do in the entire game. And before you start commenting, yeah, you, the support main, yeah, what is this? Saying that you are ace and saying you're not the problem because you have a high number of healing is about as brain dead as a tank saying they're not the issue because they have a high number of damage blocked. Your characters are capable of so much more. Before you say this is how NetEase wants you to play them, why does Sue, Gambit, Luna, and White Fox have a ton of abilities? It's almost like they gave your character a shit ton of options. I don't understand why strategists want their role to be like DPS. If all supports had the same amount of movement or fighting power as DPS, which they do, they'd be nigh untouchable. No, we don't want supports to just fall over and die, but they do need to die in certain scenarios. I don't think 2 strategists should be able to survive a 3-man die without help from their team, just the same as Daredevil shouldn't be able to 1v3 and live. Vanguards, I actually like you way more than strategists, even if you as well hate my DPS kin. However, as much as I like you, we need to talk. You do not have to sit in the middle of the team and just eat meat to the mouth. Not only are you providing ult charge to the enemy, you're just repeatedly dying and leaving your team without a front line. Without you on the field, more often than not, your team will be run over. Walking forward with your shield up isn't always the answer. It has a limit to how much it can take. Thing mains, eating Punisher bullets to your seismic chin isn't really optimal play. Tanks, learn how to push, and sometimes off tank. Just walking forward and expecting your team to follow you, expecting your healers to heal you through the insane maelstrom of hellfire coming your way is not only buffoonery, it's dickheadish. Your healers have to reload at some point. You don't get to walk into an ultimate, right? You don't get to walk into a Punisher ultimate with your face and then yell at your team the moment you die. Get used to it, big guy. You won't always have a second tank, and while as cancer as that is, it is not a valid reason to say second tank or I throw. Fix your mindset. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Just because you see that you are the only tank does not mean the game will be an instant loss. I get it. You're playing the role that the least amount of players want to play, but you, just like the DPS and the strat, have a job. Do your job regardless of the circumstances. This is very seldom talked about, but the tank community has quite the ego. They think that because they are playing the least popular role, that they don't have to listen to anyone else, and everyone should listen to them instead. I have run into many tank players that just believe they walk, and their team does the rest. Again, we get it. You are playing in an unpopular role, but that does not absolve you of accountability. Tanks are quick to blame the strats and DPS before assessing their own gameplay. The sense of entitlement is strong with vanguards. Do not play a leader position if you're not able to lead. Simply walking forward and expecting your team to follow with no coordination is brain dead. Now with that out of the way, the community needs to stop looking down on the other for who they play. While the roles have different impacts on the match, all the roles matter. You are not above strats and DPS because you play Vanguard. You are not more important than DPS and Vanguard because you play Strategist, and you are not a better player than a Strategist or a Vanguard just because you play DPS. All of you, get your egos in check. Not only is it corny to think so highly of yourself over others in a video game, it just displays why you can't wake up. Next, the scoreboard. I don't know how this concept hasn't been addressed, or at least explained thoroughly. Stop looking at the scoreboard like it's the holy grail of information. Numbers can only tell you so much. It's all about impact. Feel the flow of the game. Until you can feel what's happening without needing to address the scoreboard for all your information, you're playing the game wrong. I don't need to look at the scoreboard to know my tank can't walk because damage isn't being dealt. I can feel that. I don't need to see my Venom have an ace and a large number of eliminations to understand he's diving the backline and providing us with the pressure to engage. I can see that for myself. The scoreboard means nothing. That Spider-Man can have 0 kills. That Black Panther can have 0 kills. But for some odd reason, your tanks are walking up. And they don't have any eliminations. It's almost like the job is getting done, regardless of what the board says. I don't need to look at the scoreboard to see Rogue is walking my team down non-stop because her healing supply isn't being cut off. However, this philosophy doesn't apply to all of you. Some of you are just ass. I think I speak for most of the community when I say that NetEase's balancing is pretty poor. While the balance is comprehended through the lens of different perspectives, I hope that we can agree on these characters on the screen right now. Another thing I hope that we can agree on is that the same characters being meta season after season is not healthy for the game. I don't think every single character in the game should have a chance at being on top because that's unrealistic. However, I think some things overstay their welcome or simply need to be removed. For example, Hella Namor team up. I don't need to explain why this shouldn't still be in the game. It's been 4 god-awful seasons of that garbage. Enough is enough. Elsa didn't need to get any form of buffs. Phoenix is a terrorist and has been for a while. This game also has an issue with making strategists immortal demigods. Again, I don't think I have to explain why Luna Snow doesn't need 2 forms of CC. The ice ball was enough. Why do strategists act like this stuff is okay? It's not. And people calling out the bullshit isn't an attack on you, it's just an attack on the character you play, and the lackluster attention being paid to the game by NetEase. She is a hit scan healer with a 6-second hit scan self-healing clap that also pierces. An ice ball for CC, add in the team up for another form of CC, and she can damage boost herself. Do people really not see the problem here? Ref, do something! Black Cat was good for a singular season before she got the backshots of doom. Not even the good kind. The way they nerfed her, a slaughter, which shows they have the capability of doing so to other characters. It took multiple seasons for Daredevil to be properly touched. Seasons before Gambit was properly touched. A lot of the complaints came from Black Cat's movement, yet nobody complains about the fact Deadpool can bounce his ass on your forehead until you die. The way I judge if something is broken or not lies underneath two things: the ease of use to value ratio and how it interacts with the rest of the game. I believe the easier something is to use, the less viable it should be. Because what happens when you make easy things also super strong? You breed a community full of lazy, egotistical, overgrown babies. Easy characters should have zero place in a high skill, high stakes environment. And for the most part, that is true to some degree. You have the outliers, but more on that at another time. Folks say Gambit is hard to use. However, I do not see the vision with that one. Conserve your cards. Use them wisely. It's not like other characters didn't already have to do this before he came. Everyone wants to act like he's the mastermind of support, when really he's not. Hard card. Provides passive healing and boosts healing output. Has burst heal ability as well as a cleanse. So ultimates like Groot aren't that good against him. Spade card. Can passive damage boost. It has a soft CC blast and an anti-heal projectile. Gambit has 2 dashes that heal and do damage. He can slam for AoE heals as well. The only strategist that has genuine combos that aren't just stun, headshot, next to Sue of course. Characters that have very few counters and force a specific comp to be played just because they are on the map are broken. Your character is so volatile that a very specific comp with even more specific playstyle is forced. There should be no character in the game that forces anything in the way the meta characters do. Like Daredevil, for example. In his prime, he used to be the Antichrist. So much so that seeing him just meant you'd have some unkillable honey badger roaming the map all f***ing game. And your only hope was anti-dive, or if you had a DD, and no one likes to pray and sit and wait for your teammate to diff the other, because a lot of the time your teammate is the one that diffs. He's the one getting diffed. Even watered down Daredevil is viable. If he were a millipede, it's like they took off one of his dozens of legs as if it mattered. The word counter is misused in this community. I don't think any of you actually know what it means to counter something in a video game. When you are to counter something, you are simply making it harder for that thing to exist comfortably. The counters in this game aren't actual counters, it is straight nullification. Even if a character is countered, there should still be room to provide value. These picks are oppressive. The thing doesn't counter dive, he nullifies it. With Penny, there is some room for counterplay, but that room is very small. With Penny, even though her win rate is high, dive can still play around her. With the thing, you die simply for existing in the blockhead's presence. You would think that poke would lose to dive, which on paper, it would seem that way. Really, it doesn't. And you need coordinated, communicated dives, or you will be on. Here are some common counters. Poke into roll. Poke into anti-dive. If you are playing the thing, Hulk or Thor, your job on Vanguard will be hard, but not impossible. If you try playing any character with movement into the thing, you will find out really quickly the imbalance in the way he interacts with you. You ever wondered why poke is the answer to almost everything in the game? Because that's how they made it. They can do damage to you without needing to be near. Not only do poke win the ranged battle, when you eventually do get close, they CC you and use their movement to run away. The only weakness poke seems to have isn't even a weakness, because at close range they still shit on you. Nobody likes poke. But this is what happens when you want one playstyle nerfed. You can't giga nerf both poke and dive. You have to choose one. The community mistakenly thought dive was the one that needed to go. Now every ranked match is a poke palooza, where you'd better be A, a demigod on the dive, or B, playing poke yourself. Brawl is usually in a good spot each season. People seem to think Blade is bad, but give him a Venom and a Daredevil and see how much fun you have. This is a team game, everyone. I think that Blade is in a great spot. The Rivals community has been playing a bad game for so long, they forgot what a team shooter was supposed to be like. Every character shouldn't be able to do everything on their own. They should have to work with their team to win. Daredevil, Phoenix, Luna, Gambit, and Penny are just examples of characters that have the luxury of playing the game with their eyes closed. What is the counter to these characters? You guessed it. Poke. Because the higher you get in rank, poke slowly becomes the only viable playstyle against hitscan DPS and duelists disguised as strategists. There are very few counters to these styles of play, and the only counters we truly have are just nullifying dive to the point of it being unplayable without a team of friends with combs. In conclusion, add more Gooner skins. I love that shit.